DJ Khaled.
Every time.
Every time, man.
It's amazing how much I like this music, actually, for like a random jingle. Welcome, everyone, to the XYZ podcast. I'm going to try not to do a radio voice, but I'm now flipping into my sexy voice.
Oh, God.
Good. Hi, everybody. I'm trying to avoid the time of day. I'm here with my main man, the sexy, the wonderful Christian Breaker.
G'day.
And the young and fresh and spunky Dean Iron.
Where's the sexy part?
You're young and fresh and spunky.
That's not sexy. You never said sexy.
Who wouldn't want to sleep with young, fresh, and spunky?
Most people.
You got it all going for you.
I was going to say pedophiles, but that's exactly
Okay.
the type of people
Priests.
that want to sleep with young, fresh, and
Yes,
spunky.
true. Yeah.
And my name is Harry Fucks, and we are here to discuss an important topic today. We're discussing the topic of why is it we love assholes, cunts, horrible people.
I mean, can I just say one thing real quick?
Do it.
We haven't had mailbag for a while. I'm a little bit disappointed. We've been giving and giving and giving, much like a good lover, and receiving nothing in return.
Attentive, like an attentive
it's
lover.
just-
I need validation, people, please.
Wait
Tell
a
me I'm
second.
loved.
So you're saying it's like we've achieved a high level of cunnilingus, but we're not getting blown.
Exactly. We're not even getting feedback in
Jesus
terms of like
Christ.
orgasm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like it's like a painful drunk fingering.
It's exactly what it is. As soon as you're done, just leave. And you're sitting there with a finger ache.
Have a whiff and then you go.
Dude, I'm trying to drink some beer here. Fucking hell.
Let's listen.
So
If you guys are listening, which none of you are,
none of you are. You're just on the toilet. It's background noise.
let me try the whole Christential crisis again. Should we try that one more again? Let's
Yeah.
bring it back because I
Pitch it.
like that one a lot.
Pitch
It had
it.
a lot of potential.
Okay, it's Christential.
It's Christential crisis. So Christian will give you existential advice based on his history of religion, his worldly view, his general intelligence and good looks. If you have like a problem, you don't know where you are in the world, what you're doing, does that boy love me? Does that girl like it when I go down on her? I don't know, something more meta than that because I'm too superficial to think of anything like that. What does it all mean? Write in to the XYZ podcast, which the email is
The XYZpod@gmail.com.
cool, or text us straight on Instagram. Takes you like what, a minute. You can just write, oh, look, Dean and Christian and Harry, I don't know what I'm going to eat for dinner tonight. I feel like I don't have a place in the world. That's a good question. We can analyze that.
question.
Good
We will
start.
solve these problems for you. So check it
Exactly.
out, try it out, and you'll be featured. Please, if you want to be anonymous, just say, I'm anonymous, and then we won't mention your name or your bank details.
And
You can find all our contacts on www.com,
thexyzpod.com.
motherfuckers.com.
All right, so screw all the people that can't be bothered to give us
Thank you.
love back. So today's topic is why is it we idolize cunts, basically. Now, and what I'm talking about here is that basically, like, we know by now that the world is run by psychopaths. Like, there's been studies
Well
on-
documented.
It's well documented now.
I have to do the work like section of this because I am Gen Z, even though I don't really give a fuck. But the word cunt itself, should we be using that?
We can downgrade it to asshole.
That sounds more gender neutral. Because everyone has
Everyone
one.
has an asshole.
What about
All
me?
right.
I don't have an asshole.
It's a little bit like opinions, isn't it?
That is an interesting
I don't
point.
identify with assholes.
That is an interesting point. So what
Did you just assume
But
I have
Dean-
an asshole?
Dean, you've because I get very confused about the Z like gender pronouns, and actually the unifying thing, just call everyone an asshole.
Exactly.
It's no one can
Just do that. Everyone's an asshole, full stop.
No,
G'day, asshole.
no
Yeah, that
gender
works.
offense.
I
Yeah.
like it.
It's not as specific or empowering as the word cunt because it's the T. But,
It has bite cunt, doesn't it?
there's a woman not listening to our podcast who will be offended. And maybe another male version of that cunt would also be offended. See what I did there? Gender neutral cunt.
All right, let's get back on the topic.
Anyway.
So, first let's put it like this: did any of you watch Nightcrawler, the series on Netflix?
Yes.
I think I did.
Oh, the series or the movie?
Well, no.
The one, the paparazzi dude
Oh, no. Yeah, I know the movie you mean. It's
It's
not
about
the
Jake Gyllenhaal
All
or
right.
whatever his
He's
fucking name
gorgeous.
is. Yeah,
So
great.
Nightcrawler was about a serial killer that I've forgotten the name of. This guy was an insanely prolific serial killer. He like killed like 50 plus people.
What's his name?
Can someone get on the just Netflix Nightcrawler or Night Stalker? I don't know. Maybe I'm just blurry.
Jesus Christ.
Have you watched it, Eric?
I have fucking watched it. Okay, so here's the crazy shit about that. While Christian's looking, is that this guy?
His name was Richard Ramirez.
Oh yeah, Richard Ramirez. Was he the Night Stalker or the
The
Crawler?
Night Stalker.
Okay, sorry, Night Stalker on Netflix, and he had many things wrong with him. Super skinny guy. Very bad teeth, and he would kill you. Like you'd think that these.
Oh yeah, that's
Off
pretty
the
shitty
list of
combo.
bad
Like,
things, yeah.
think-
all right.
You'd think that would be a valid reason.
Did you go by the rule of 3 with this one?
Exactly. Not to go on a date with this guy. But the crazy thing is, once they caught him, he's got these like insanely intense eyes. Like when they had it, yeah. There's look how bad his teeth are, Dean. They're really.
No
fucking
one's going
scary.
on a date with that. We got to post a picture of that on Instagram.
But they cleaned him up. They put him in a courtroom, and he had these like intense glowing eyes. All kinds of women were sending him letters, trying to marry him, all kinds of shit like this. So and they're like, if you end up with this guy and he gets free, first thing he's going to do is kill you. Like, why? That sounds like a
Was he only killing women? I don't think I have watched his documentary.
So what was weird about him, according to the Netflix documentary, is he was all over the place.
Which is the truth.
He was killing men and women. He was doing it with different things like knives, guns, strangling. Some of them he would like abuse sexually after he killed them, some before, there's no sex involved. He was just a complete maniac. I don't know, maybe it was like he had a panini sticker of serial killers. He was trying to do all the murders. I don't know.
But isn't it a common thing, like people, especially with serial killers, women are very attracted to these bad boys.
Exactly.
Like, does it not come from like a nurture versus nature, or I can fix him type thing?
Or it could be, this is a strong man who will protect me kind of thing.
I don't think it's that though. It's
No,
like it's more of a primal.
That there is something deeper in there. Is like, it's because it's also like murdering is like its raw nature.
Yeah.
It's completely no limits, right?
If you ever, no limits. Exactly. It's like when you're just about to sleep with someone. It's like, are we gonna have sex or are you gonna kill me? Like, there's no better orgasm.
That is exactly that's a way to spice up your love life. But actually, Christian, with Brian, that episode we had with Brian Folke, you talked about how your ex-wife was writing to a guy at San Quentin prison on death row.
Have they found her body yet?
Now, officially, that was just a kind of a caring thing to do, but there was clearly some kind of attraction there. I would say, like some fascination.
Yeah, tell us how you got cucked by a weed dealer in Los Angeles.
Yeah, exactly. I was standing by in death row, just looking into the prison cell where my then wife gets fucked. No,
I mean, what do you think? Like in retrospect, was her driving force on this to save him, or
her driving force?
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not 100% sure. There was definitely an altruistic motive in a way, like just want to help that guy or whatever. But there obviously is an attraction. Like even going there was in a weird way attractive. There was something royally fucked up with the whole situation, but also. Like no one ever done that before. Like I have no friends that have been to San Quentin State Prison on their summer holiday.
Yeah.
It's like,
Let's go on vacation, honey.
no, it's hey, how was Pelican Bay? Fucking awesome. So
Guantanamo's amazing this time of year.
but which basically it kind of feels like that other Netflix documentary series, the Traveler thing. Now I have lost the plot.
Which Traveler show?
It was a traveling show about going to dangerous places. There's like tourism in like war zones and shit like that.
Danger tourism kind of thing.
Yeah. And there's a great guy from New Zealand who did this.
He comes from New Zealand. No wonder he wants
the
some
guy
excitement.
that killed himself in the end.
No.
Is it? Oh, okay.
This is how great produced we are. So I'm gonna do the research and do it on the fly. Long story short, so there was a motivation definitely that went slightly beyond that paradigm of I just want to help. There was certainly something like, why did he what he did? Like better understanding that person also, because I think they did talk about, like, I never read the letters, but I think they did talk about what he was in prison for.
But do you think it could have been like, she was like, like, my husband, I'm committed to a banker for the rest of my life, and he's very nice to me in bed, and I need something a bit rougher.
No, you always attach to sexual, right? But look at it this way. Maybe it's like, could it be put in the same category? In my mind, it's those people who, like, because we all slow down when we see a car accident to kind of like look. We all can't not look, But there are some people that get out the car and take a picture.
There was a big one. There was a big one yesterday in Bellevue at 5:30 in the evening. A car flipped right around Bellevue. This is for the non-locals.
Oh, because it's that. Oh, yeah.
It's in Zurich. Just right at the lake, there's like a beautiful spot, and people go there to pose with their cars. It's super weird.
From people from Argyle.
For people from Argyle. Switzerland's Tennessee. And
South Africa's Boxburg.
Everyone has a district with spoilers.
Yeah, we have the Essex in the UK.
yeah, exactly.
Not miss out
tracksuits. So one person basically slashes their car into another car, hits the ramp, and flips the car.
Shit.
The person in the car dies.
No way.
Oh yeah. So white tent.
I missed it.
Well, so in the news report, it basically said there was heavy traffic and a lot of bystanders watching.
Of course.
But it's also prime time. It's 5:30 on a sunny evening in Zurich at Bellevue.
Who's not going to be there?
Someone is dead. I mean, this is
and
awesome.
we've been in lockdown for, it's like the first
exciting
thing that
thing,
happened.
Yeah.
Okay, but okay, so there is that, like, the thrill, but I think there's another aspect to
Okay,
this.
I quickly want to wrap this one up. The guy that I was referring to, his name is David Farrier.
Mm-hmm.
He's an incredible artist. I have mentioned him before. He did a TV series called Dark Tourist that talks about tourism, like people that go to Chernobyl.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
There's or I don't know, North Korea or something.
But so here's the thing. So, like, back to the so first of all, like, a little bit of background. So you have you know the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath, like the fundamental difference.
Enlighten us, Harry.
I just want to do it. Okay, countdown.
That's a psychopathic trait right there.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
So,
Pressure on
Jimmy
people.
Carr.
so the essential difference, I understand it, is that sociopaths are created by, it's like a nurtures thing. So they get horrible shit happens to them as a child, whatever it is, and they end up hating everything. Like, they hate people.
Relatable.
Yeah, exactly. Sociopaths more relatable. Psychopaths are born that way, and they lack fundamental things like human empathy. Like, they literally don't feel empathy. But they tend to
Must be awesome, though.
That's like I said earlier. The capitalism favors these people because
Yeah.
you're willing to cut down anyone to get what you want.
Yeah, and that's another interesting thing is the way we measure IQ and all of these things is that people that don't have empathy often tend to measure
outperform
very highly. So
Nice.
your empathy is holding you back, people. If you didn't,
Damn it.
if
So if
didn't-
you're a real asshole, that
I
basically makes you really smart.
yeah, because you're not like, because you think beyond what normal people would be. You wouldn't be like, yeah, like, what if we just fire everyone from this company? No, like, most people wouldn't think that, because, like, that would be a horrible thing to do. But you're psychopaths, like, yeah, we can totally cut costs by firing all these people, and there was a study by some Swedish dude where they showed that basically at the top of most companies there are psychopaths, and
Of course. Politicians all have these tendencies.
But the thing is, so there's one level to it. One is that they got up there. But the other thing, and that's what I want to get into today, is I feel that we somehow idolize them. It's like, knowingly or unknowingly, we just, these people that can always show up to a meeting super positive, never show any sign of weakness. They're always just like, yeah, I'm the greatest. We somehow worship that.
I see what you're saying. They are worshipped. They are respected. They are kind of put in those leadership roles because they are naturally good leaders. And people tend to enjoy and look up to the leaders a lot if they're a good leader per se.
Well, good leader, you have, I mean, okay, let's take one example. Steve Jobs. Okay, so
You're saying he's psychopath.
Probably a psychopath.
Most likely.
Because they also have tendency towards narcissism, right?
Yeah, okay. Narcissism is a separate thing, but yes, basically.
They have that though.
It can go hand in hand.
Repertoire.
Because they
look at us.
They look for exactly.
How dare you?
Because they're looking for
Too real?
They're looking to achieve, and there's a strong overlap between. But you can be a narcissist without being a psychopath.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but you can't be a psychopath without narcissism, right?
I don't know.
I do believe that that's one of the standard traits.
Well,
is that it?
I've dated at least 3 psychopaths.
All of them narcissists?
I Googled it once.
Must be right. Dr. Google.
I get, but well, it's just an interesting question. I mean, I guess the ones that aren't narcissists you never hear about, so they're probably like torturing rabbits in a dungeon somewhere,
or maybe just their blog, they rent and basically make other people pay for their rent or something. I don't know. Like
maybe, yeah,
just on a micro level.
But they're driven to because like one aspect. So from what I've looked into this is that they're driven to material success. Usually, there are the ones that are super fucked up, like the night stalker, crawler stalker, who. Like if you get his story, he probably was a psychopath. Then he was brutally abused as a child for years, and then he just combined like sociopathy with psychopathy. And
he became really
It's like
he became
he's a psychopath,
the perfect monster.
But let's look at it this way. There's a big spectrum of this. There's like we talk about being a psychopath there, and all the traits that come with those. There's the average CEO to like the absolute worst of the worst serial killers. You know? But once again, how do you compare or idolize them for the different kind of factors? So in the case of prisoners, there's women who want to fuck him, and then with the CEO, there's also a woman who want to fuck him.
But Steve Jobs, okay, if we assume he's a great example, because if we assume he was a psycho, he's famous for like throwing chairs and screaming people.
Yeah, he's a bit of a dickhead. I'm gonna say asshole, just gender neutral.
Now the question is was he a good leader? Well, he got the iPhone done, but if you look at what happened after he died, and around about the iPhone 5, pretty much everyone who worked on launching the iPhone quit Apple and were basically fucked, because most of them, their family lives were destroyed. They'd worked like crazy for years, and so they got to say, I worked on the iPhone, but it caused massive destruction to their personal life. So is that a good leader or not?
Well, and Steve Jobs famously destroyed his own private life.
Yeah.
With his daughter.
Oh yeah, his daughter.
That he never acknowledged as his daughter for many years. What I figured out in the way that you just put it, I'm not sure if these situations are comparable though. We idealize success as a society, and that's the different one. So if a psychopath becomes successful, they can pretty much get away with murder. So the spectrum that you said before, Dean, of like there's the mass murderer and then there's the CEO. In most cases, the CEO is both. So there is, and
sure,
okay, not necessarily in terms of like an active shooter, but more like
firing, for example,
making decisions that lead to people's demise, whatever corporation it is, or etc. But again, we idealize success as a society, but we are also, because murder and death is so far removed from our daily lives now, that if we have the possibility to talk someone that experienced death firsthand, so to speak, that becomes fascinating, because we have no idea how death works now. It's so far removed from all our experiences. Yes, we occasionally go to a burial, But who have you has seen someone die? Like really
It's
seen
kind of like
die?
that question, like, or have you ever killed a man? You know, like, you know, it's interesting to hear that somebody who's stared at it and given it to someone.
And you know the funny thing with this Night Stalker, they asked him this question about why he did it, and he said there's something about the confusion and at the moment that someone's dying. It's very fucked up.
Yeah, often
that's what he was getting off. It's just like
often it's either a sexual thing or it's a power thing.
Yeah, it was definitely
when it comes
power
to those. Yeah. So like even with some rapists, I heard that they're not even there for the sexual feeling. But it's more of a power issue.
What about this? Have you ever been in an abusive relationship apart from the XYZ podcast?
I mean, define abusive.
Like sorry,
physically abused.
You missed my joke there. Like yeah.
no, that was a statement.
Willingly glossed over.
That was a fact.
Fuck you.
I was like, how are you just talking truth? There's nothing funny about that.
Okay. It's good to really stick to your truths, Harry. Just say it how it is.
No, I mean, have you ever? So, would you say you've ever? Because I mean, to me, the interesting thing is like there's stories. Occasionally, I've run into someone where it's like they're with someone where it's you like, why the fuck are you with this person? They're doing awful shit to you. Why do you tolerate this? Why don't you move on? Have you known people or been in that situation?
Yeah, of course. You're talking like Stockholm syndrome as well.
Yeah.
Right? But that's also partly the victim's own abuse and issues that let them and make them stay in that kind of relationship.
What type of things would you think?
For example, like say there's an abusive husband who often hits his wife. Why does she stay with that person? Because maybe the way that person receives love is through violence in some twisted format based on her own abuse as a child or something like that. You know, like in a dumb example, I have a friend whose girlfriend is like super controlling and gets quite physically angry at him when she doesn't get her own way. But I experienced this kind of firsthand one time, not towards him, but towards myself. And I could not accept that kind of behavior from someone, and I kind of shut it down quite quickly. Yeah. And I was like, so it's kind of the way he wants it to be, accepts it.
He feels comfortable with that.
That's what I'm saying.
But
if he had just kind of laid down the law at some point beforehand, saying you can't do that, then it wouldn't be happening.
I guess there's a level of that, but then there's also like kind of a personality dominance factor. Is that if you have someone like some people that come into a room and go just shout, "Hey, fuck all of you, listen to me," and then you're like, "Holy shit, do I need to confront this person because there'll be a fight, or do I just like let them just dominate the situation?"
Have you ever seen a fight?
Yeah, I've been.
I grew up in London, in the UK.
Exactly.
So I forgot because the dynamic is quite fascinating, especially when it happens in public. There is a lot of like not believing that this is about to happen, and then when the first punches go, everyone freezes.
Yeah,
that it's incredible. No one actually scoots in between immediately and is the hero of the day. There's at least 3-4 punches before anything happens.
Christian, I like the way you're like, have you ever seen someone die, and have you ever seen a fight? And I'm like, what?
Yeah, but
these are real questions. Of course.
So naive.
Africa, man.
I mean, the strategy with most of this stuff, like in the UK, what you got to gear yourself up to is if you enter that situation, you punch first and ask questions later. I mean, the number one thing is always like, I don't want to fight, which is like, can you put a giant tag on your forehead, like beat the shit out of me, is when you do that. If you say, oh, guys, I don't want to fight. Yeah, you're getting your ass kicked now. Yeah.
You get punched in a second.
If they're testing you out for. I had a friend who was Iranian, and his shit had gone down with him. Another Iranian friend, one of those stories, and so here's a funny thing that happened. We're at a side. We're at this like Kentucky Fried Chicken one night, Friday night,
where all the good things start.
Exactly. and for some reason we're just talking some stupid thing about like factory farming chickens and how chickens get abused. This drunk guy behind us.
the drunk guy behind you guys.
Exactly. Goes.
Do tell, because you were stone dead sober when you went to Kentucky Fried Chicken on
We
Friday.
were compared to him, we were fairly sober. And
This is an Englishman trying to.
Yeah, fairly sober.
Fairly sober means I was hardly able to walk, but my hands didn't touch the pavement. That's about it.
You believe what you got to believe. So. But anyway, I was with an Iranian. You know, he wasn't. Anyway, whatever. And
Harry was going to say something racist, but edited
no,
it
it's just
himself.
like lack of alcoholic content in their lives. Anyway, whatever it was, this guy goes, "Oh, I stopped talking like that about chickens," and he starts puffing himself up for a fight. Like, why would you try to start? And my friend just turned around and looked at him.
So he's like a rubber boat. He was just like pushing
air
into his lungs.
He was getting ready.
Like a chicken.
Yeah. And my friend just turned around to him, just looked at him and said, "Why did the chicken cross the road?" And this guy just melted. He like stumbled out of the KFC and had to throw up on the street. Like my friend got in his head. And this friend was a master at this shit. There was another time in Bournemouth on the South Coast where these 5 dudes came up and were trying to pick a fight. And he just walked to the front. He said his thing was make fists immediately. Like you don't have to get into a fight, but you don't come with the I don't want to fight. We've gone off on a weird.
Yeah, Harry goes
male
from
fantasy.
why do we idolize dickheads to I used to be friends with one and now I
No, he wasn't. But he wasn't a guy that would start fights. I mean, it's just that what he'd grown up in Tehran was real fucking fighting. Like,
yeah, man. Once you've seen some real action, then pussy street fights still mean shit.
I guess. Hey, you graduate.
You guys got a bit of fear in your eyes right now.
so
Harry, do you idolize a psychopath, serial killer, or someone like that? Do you ever think, or I wish I could kind of be brave enough to cross that line and just kill someone I don't like?
No.
I've thought that way before. Could you be a serial killer?
Heaps of times.
Yeah, right? We've all have that dark part in our head.
what the fuck, guys?
Of course,
Harry, you've
Harry.
never thought of killing someone before.
No, not
Never.
I've said it in like an argument.
You're denying you're in a real.
No, wait. Let me rephrase the question.
Idea of
Have you ever had in your head a moment where you thought it would be so much easier if that other person would be dead?
I've had that, yeah.
There you go.
You're divorced. You should have.
Exactly. It's a relationship, but I've never made a fantasy about killing somebody.
Never.
For
No,
example.
well, okay. It's not about and then I sharpen my knife.
Yeah, it's not
and
about
then
the
we
details so much,
it's
but-
more about like, okay, I can make that person disappear.
You never thought of just this pencil in your hand
Permanently.
right now. Into
Yeah, I mean,
someone's head.
but only as like the logical conclusion of an unsolvable situation.
Fuck me, you're such an engineer, even about murder. Fuck.
Dude, the gamification of
It's like, what else are we gonna do here? Like,
Okay. You have like a flow chart. There's like different options, and then the last option is a cross.
Jesus Christ, guys, you're a couple of fucking psychopaths.
Look, I'm sorry. We should take a vote. Who doesn't imagine killing someone at some point in their lives? You have to.
Well, I think there's a difference between to me, there's a separation. Like someone who's a serial killer must actually you go through actually planning a murder, for example. The most disturbed. Okay, let's put it this.
Yeah, they usually graduate through different crimes. Like you don't go from teenager that didn't get laid to murdering lunatic in just one step. There's
got to be a bit of religious sexual abuse in there. So.
There's like a gateway killer. Like
a gateway
you start
kill.
smoking a joint and stabbing a cat. Next thing you know,
maybe starts with a sparrow, and then
I mean, I think the nearest I've ever come to anything like that is it's through TV. So there's a series, The Fall, on Netflix. There's also Mindhunters.
Very good.
But The Fall is like the way it's set up. Part of it is you identify with the serial killer, and it gets. Like you reach a point where he starts to do stupid things and you're like, why the fuck are you doing that, man? Like you're on his side. But there's a difference, I think, between that or just the murdering someone being the solution to a very difficult situation where you just I just wish they get hit by a car or something. Where were we? I've got no idea anymore.
Professional podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Excellent
We're talking about why Harry's attracted to a psycho killer. Who is it, Harry?
Yeah, tell us.
It's always,
Actually, honest to God, which psycho are you attracted to? Maybe not in a sexual way, but just generally, which is hard for you. I know that most things are sexual. Just naturally, kind of like you think this is an impressive person.
Yeah, idolized. Do you idolize the narcissist psychopath?
I mean, yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, well, so in movies, as we've just been talking movies.
You came up with this topic.
Yeah, I didn't even think about
I'm throwing it at you, and you go like, oh yeah, this is fascinating.
I never thought about it.
No, because mostly, like, I don't know, like, I think I've got a gene that I want to destroy people like that. I hate the whole, like, when you say they're good leaders, no, they're fucking not.
They are usually.
They're not.
They are.
They're only leaders because they intimidate everyone below them.
And they're successful.
That's not good leadership.
Well, in this day and age, it fucking
Apparently it pays money.
On the metrics, but the thing is, if you go to, for example, creative organizations.
But how can I tell success if you don't make money?
Let me put it like this. Like, so from managing software engineers, you cannot run a good creative organization if you're a psycho, because those guys, you're like,
wait,
Dean's shaking his head. Let me ask you this. You cannot be creative when you're afraid.
You don't have to be the creative
But you just
person.
said the opposite before about Steve. Like he's my mate. Steve Jobs, you know. Remember Steve?
Good old Stevie.
Stevie. Orange Steve. The guy that stunk a whole office out. Steve. He was a fucking psychopath, and they created marvelous things.
That's true, but I think in his case, he was smart enough to figure out where to stay the fuck away from things. So he had Wozniak from the early days, and they created space around, like, if you look at the way Apple did things, the sales organization, all the stuff except the engineering parts are full of psychos. The engineering parts are the ones where they were given a lot more freedom and space, and special rules applied to those guys.
It's because it's a bit boring. It's pretty much formula following to figure out what you want to solve.
My postulate is this: you cannot be creative if you're afraid.
Yeah, but Steve isn't afraid. Steve came up with a lot of the marketing campaigns for Apple, which are hugely successful.
Oh yeah, but
he was an excellent salesman.
Yeah, excellent.
This is probably where, like, do you remember this iconic moment when he presented us with the iPhone and half of the world were fucking nuts? By the way, that video has millions of clicks and it's one of the most watched. I think after fucking mega church videos in the United States, is one of the most watched sermons.
Yeah.
He is God.
I present you with an iPod and a phone. It's like, yes, talk to us, yes.
Exactly. and look what happened to humanity since then. We've all got massive depression because we're just addicted to this fucking phone. We're all at each other's
What are you trying to say here?
wokeness.
Because you're saying you can't be creative without fear, but that's got nothing to do with the psychopaths.
Well, my point is that I would question the psychopaths are good leaders. What they are
I'm not saying, define good leader these day and age. I agree with you. A natural leader will get any normal person into battle, but go with them kind of thing.
But a psychopath is good at
manipulating people.
Yeah, looking at an organization that exists and figuring out how. Like, I've worked with people that had these traits, and the number one thing that they can be measured by is they A, do no fucking real work, and B, are all about stealing credit for other people's stuff.
That's the definition of a boss, basically.
Yeah, people like that, I come after. So I will bring you
that, and then you're like,
this is amazing. So we live here.
I'm deeply fucking triggered when I see this.
We live here in Zurich, in the country and land of finance, and we have.
Okay, this is getting really interesting.
So we have a company structure called auditors. You might be familiar with PwC, pricks with calculators, Deloitte, KPMG, Ernst & Young.
I always choked on my water. Fricks calculator.
It's such a dumb joke. And I did not.
Like it.
I wish I came up with it, but I certainly didn't. So these are all. This is the Ponzi scheme par excellence. It's just. It's insane. So, are you familiar with these companies, Dean?
Yeah. I've heard of these pricks.
Okay, so pricks with calculators.
Some of my friends work there.
This is how it works, right? So they take fresh young people from uni, promise them a career in big finance and business, and then make them work for 16 hours a day.
Yeah. Easy.
All right? And they charge a motherfucker out of all the companies that need to hire them because we
nothing.
have to fucking hire them.
Yeah.
This is beautiful.
This is institutionalized money stealing. It's just they serve no purpose other than just ticking a box. And when shit hits the fan, they're not in any shape or form accountable for anything.
I had a friend who worked at Anderson's who now works at Google, but he put it beautifully. He said,
Wait. Say the full name of that company again.
Anderson's, whatever they are now. I don't know what they got. They were just Anderson's at the time.
Do you know where they went?
They went way down the toilet and got bought by someone, I guess.
Because of Enron.
Yeah.
They basically controlled the books of Enron, who lied, multi-billion-dollar business, lied to the stock exchange. They had an auditor that went down with them, and they are now part of Ernst & Young, motherfucker.
And so here's the point he made. He put it beautifully. He said, if those guys could, they'd hire burger flippers and send them to companies. But they can't do that.
And they do.
They do the next best thing. They take fresh students out of university. And basically the way it worked, for you to become a partner in this system and to become a wise guy, basically, is you had to have a cocaine habit. The only way you were going to succeed was drugs. You have to become a ruthless fucking psychopath, a bit like.
But psychopathy and drug abuse doesn't necessarily go hand in hand.
Well, because I mean, the thing is this: is that basically like you have psychopaths in every organization. The thing that I've seen from managing engineers is that the moment you show people there's an alternative where you can actually look after people, allow people to be creative, you don't have to have some idiot from the top who knows fuck all dictating everything. The moment you get that freedom, then it's unstoppable. Like once you create that, and so for me, there is a movement at the moment, and maybe this is partly the whole woke movement. It reflects this. Is that creative people are starting to find their power. And that is an antipathy to this old school hierarchical, I will treat people like slaves and whatever shit.
If more empathy is going into kind of the public spectrum and the values are shifting from younger people, essentially from material success, unachievable because of the current structure and competition, to or I actually care about things because they're more meaningful than the shit that I can't buy anyway, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yes, of course it is.
Yeah.
And to me, it requires psychopaths to go away.
I don't think they'll ever go away. Talking about that, though, do you think there's a biological element to the whole psychopathy type thing?
Yeah.
Do you think like
okay, let's think about it this way. So, because this is usually the go-to, right? Back in the day when we lived in caves, we had to murder the mammoth. And it's usually not the guys that are trying to protect their families that go like, yeah, I know how to kill the mammoth. It's probably the psychopath Steve Jobs that shouts at everyone, let's go kill the mammoth.
Let's go kill a mammoth.
You're right. Yeah. Because people that watch cat videos on YouTube and go, oh, those are not people that can kill mammoths. You need the person publishing cat torturing videos on YouTube.
You need you need the Mad Max type.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like a guy that hardly speaks for 3 hours in a movie that's mostly about the desert.
Yeah, I guess there's an idolized version of the psychopath, which I don't think exists, like a fantasy ideal that the good leader, the provider, the person who cares about everyone but can also make tough decisions. You know, those.
But that's not a psychopath.
Yeah,
that's
you're right.
a dad.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about like
but you're right.
a person in business leadership, for example, at a creative agency who doesn't want to cut half his thing to make profit, but also can go out there and fight for business and stuff. You know, it's like it kind of goes off with each other. It doesn't work out so well.
Yeah, there's an interesting thing that they in the First World War. So up to the First World War, they didn't the way they trained the military changed after that. But what they saw in the First World War,
because they ran out of soldiers.
But what they saw is that actually it was less than 20% of the soldiers were actually shooting to kill.
Yeah, exactly.
And the training was developed to how can we
make sure that they aim at their targets?
Exactly. Let's create, because a lot of
Let's
people
be German about this. Give them really, really heavy drugs.
Make them hate the enemy.
and give
But they're just human.
give the one
Shuts
guy
up
that
and
does want to
shoots.
kill like some gun that you can shoot a lot with,
Sniper rifle. Give him a sniper rifle.
or a machine
a
gun.
giant machine
Should we
gun.
start talking about the pink mist when that bullet hits the brain?
Jesus
The
Christ,
color
Christian.
of pink mist in the morning.
We have identified a psychopath on the show live. He's getting it.
No, for me, this has become quoting movies as much as I can now because
But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, to me, the paradox is like all the things ultimately we idolize as society that we want, that we stop killing each other, that we feed everyone, that we want like peace, love,
But
and
the
harmony.
architect told us in the Matrix that didn't work.
Jesus, you're such a fucking psycho, man. That's like, no,
I can't really relate to psychopaths at all.
yeah,
Unfortunately.
but that's okay.
No one can.
That's
This
okay.
this is what it is.
Because they can't relate to you either.
They don't even know who you are. This is the beauty of it. So
If they saw you like crying in the corner, they'd be like, they'd laugh at you, basically.
But this is what's funny is because when you meet up with your psychopath serial killer pen writer, apart from getting turned on like your ex-wife, Christian, you tell
fucking hell.
them, you tell them, oh, I didn't think what you did was so great. You'll be forgotten forever. Nothing, nobody really gives a fuck about you. That's when they get triggered because there's like that weird validation. I have to be remembered. I'm more important than something bigger.
Okay, I'm gonna give you some homework now. This is the last movie reference that I'm gonna make. Well, that's probably promised a little bit much.
Not true.
There's a great movie about the financial crisis called Margin Call, and it kind of got hidden in
Big
all these
Short.
in The Big Short when that one came out.
Yeah.
Margin Call, you can actually watch it on YouTube now. Because a lot of the big distributors have canceled it, so it's not on Netflix, it's not on Amazon. They took it away because
Shout out to our sponsors, Netflix and Amazon.
it was too true.
it was too true.
Oh,
it's
nice.
too close to the truth.
Really?
And it basically describes the moment when just before the collapse of the whole banking system, and they make a reference to a bank, but it is pretty fucking obvious of which one it was.
ZFC.
So the lead up to the moment when they started the fire sale. So there was a moment in the financial crisis in 2008 when they started selling these toxic papers. One of the guys figured it out, and then they devalued within a day. So
Really?
they lost 70% of the value within one day. And that basically got the ball rolling. But so they described that moment. So there's an evening when it all starts. People are already getting fired in that company because shit is going weird. And one guy figures out, hey, the shit that we have on our books actually is so much bigger than our balance sheet. Any change of price of these assets will wipe our company dry, like immediately.
Yeah.
So he goes to his boss, he tells his boss, and then it goes up the food chain. And the fucking psychos, the way that they're portrayed, and it's a Kevin Spacey movie, so okay.
Nice.
Psychopath playing a psychopath.
Oh,
Perfect.
nice.
So
It's been a while
it's
since I've seen a bit of
fucking
Kevin.
awesome. Like it makes your skin just like your hair stands up.
Already Kevin
it's
does
just, yeah, just his pure presence. And the fucking douchebaggery, because they all know that it's fucked up. And the guy that figures it out, he's a rocket scientist. And that comes out in the movie where when they ask him, it's like, okay, so what's your background? How were you able to calculate this stuff? And he's like, well, basically, I have a degree in propulsion. And they go like, well, so you're a rocket scientist? It's like, yeah. So why are you working for us? Well, the money is better. And this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
The whole movie is just about packages. It's just about remuneration. It's just about that next step in your career. And this is psycho behavior that we encourage as a society.
But actually, you've made me have a realization.
I do that quite a lot, apparently.
Yeah, you do.
Psychos are this old school like survival. Well, I can kill people. the next level, I think the people that are replacing the psychos as we sit here, it's already happened largely is people on the autistic spectrum. Because that rocket scientist, psychos are fucking lazy. They don't go like, I'm going to actually understand how the financial markets work. The autists are so detail oriented that they actually figure out what's truly happening. And they're the reason why we have good medicine. Probably some autists help make the COVID vaccine. Like autists are taking over.
Hell.
Autists.
Harry's coming out swinging out of the gates like.
Wait. Okay, bear with me. I've worked in software all my life, and
You keep saying that.
everyone in
It's
software.
not an excuse.
No.
What's this got to do with the autistic spectrum?
You can start that sentence like, I'm
Okay.
ginger.
Yeah, I could. But everyone who works in software is to some degree on that spectrum. I probably am myself, and I've managed to like I've autisted my way into comedy. But
Yeah, this is becoming abundantly clear now.
exactly. So I'm just an autistic fake. But the thing is, like autists or the people on this spectrum, the people that are willing to spend hundreds of hours staring at a computer, now run like Facebook, Zuckerberg, classic autist.
Oh, yeah.
Google, like Sergey Brin and Larry Page, two more of them. Like,
I have worked with autistic
and
bosses.
they've figured out a strategy to replace the psychopaths. I think that is the.
I don't think that this is. First, I'm not sure if this is exclusive. Like, you can be autistic and a psycho.
They're the best kind of.
This is probably how the world will go further and to Mars eventually.
Hitler
Thank
figured
you,
out how to
Elon.
kill. Yeah, like Hitler figured out how to kill a person, and then just a million of them. You have 6 million.
was
Autistic and psychopathic.
Yeah, he counted them all.
Yeah, was a numbers game for him, you know.
Oh, fuck me.
No,
Was
look.
there like gamification?
No.
But here's the thing, okay, to get us cancelled. Hitler, classic psychopath. What does he fear? Autists. Jewish people, a lot of autists.
Fucking hell! Oh, no, Harry, no, wrong way.
Let me clear
round.
this up. In terms of your argument with autism, I think autistic
I don't
people.
argue with autists.
I know. Just here, wait. Let me just try and get you out of a fucking grave right now. Autistic people are good at recognizing patterns, right? And if we're all on the spectrum, recognizing patterns is a good kind of a connection to financial intelligence, right? So you don't have to be like, autistic people only, but we're people who are good at recognizing patterns and are good at math.
I think the autistic spectrum, there's many things. Just spotting patterns is not the only type.
I know it's not the only thing, but it's probably the one that
yeah,
gives
I
like
hope
people
so.
like Zuckerberg a huge advantage because he can sit there and look at patterns in algorithms and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
Well, boobies.
I think
He looked for patterns for boobies.
I think it's more that you have that willingness to ignore the sunshine outside and sit there.
Sure, but what
staring
happens
at a
after they
screen.
become a success is that they start hiring the certified psychopaths to start running their company.
Yeah, that's true. That is a problem.
So I doubt Zuckerberg sits there and thinks about who he's firing. I don't think it's part of his.
Maybe that
day
because
job.
he has been looking pretty terrified the last times.
He
I've
doesn't
seen
look like he's having a good time.
He's looking like some psychopaths are telling him, Mark, you've got to say this, or
Exactly.
we will.
The lizard overlords.
We will. The lizards have taken.
Listen,
Thank you for bringing it to lizards.
No, I figured it out now. Now that you mention all these things, I think you brought an epiphany to me. I think we should listen to Alex Jones. And
Very nice.
I do not agree with the opinions of XYZ podcast.
I think we can cure autism by not having the vaccine.
And the frogs, the gay frogs, is the. Do you know the gay frogs?
Gay frogs are awesome.
What?
So, it's
Do we have to dive
It's-
into gay frogs right
No,
now?
just very
yeah.
briefly.
Oh, yeah,
It's-
briefly, please.
It's one of the things that you correct me if I'm wrong, but it's one of the things that got Alex Jones cancelled.
One of the things.
But the crazy thing is it turns out in retrospect that he might have been kind of right on this.
What, gay frogs?
It was a toxic chemical that some corporations were leaking into water, and he said it's turning frogs gay. So
Because that's the biggest problem of that whole sentence.
Yeah.
what it
Yes.
what it actually
Yeah.
been doing is it had been sterilizing males, And so something was going on because
So they became less bullfroggy and a little bit more cuddly.
it was some
Toxic masculinity.
some bullfrog dykes.
Alex Jones never got cancelled.
He's just been.
He was never on a. He
Who's
was never.
your favorite? Andrew Schultz.
He was on the Andrew Schultz podcast
Where's that episode?
on YouTube.
No, it got cancelled. YouTube forced Andrew Schultz to take it down. They took it down for him, actually.
Why?
Because they had Alex Jones on it.
Because YouTube blocked him.
Well, actually, probably
Is YouTube friends with Mark?
they began with 15 minutes of joking about COVID and all kinds of bad COVID
I can
advice.
see why they blocked it. Yeah.
But if you're watching Alex Jones and you believe that shit, you're a fucking idiot.
I'd like to talk to the
People
guy.
do.
I'd literally like to talk to the guy just to see.
I would love to
I
meet him.
want to have a
He's got
glimpse. I
so
want to-
much charisma.
I want to have a glimpse behind his eyes where I realize he knows that he's lying.
I think
You know what I
would-
mean?
I think what would happen,
You will see
Christian,
it.
is you'd meet him and you'd come out thinking, oh my God.
I need to buy his fucking product.
Oh my god!
I go like, oh my God.
This makes you manly. This bacon toothbrush.
Yeah, wow, you do a great Alex Jones impression, actually.
I spent some time to listen to the guy, like just because of fucking
You
idiotic.
should bring the.
I
you
think we
should bring
found out
this in
who
comedy.
Christian idolizes as a
I
psychopath.
idolize. If you are such a fucking douchebag to sell pretty much talcum powder. Talcum powder. I wanted to say chalk, and and talcum came out as a talcum. So he basically sells talcum powder as protein, and he does that.
What?
And he gets fucking away with it. It's incredible. It's beautiful.
Dude.
What the? What?
He sells garbage. Do you know what he sells?
No,
and
I
then
didn't
he
even
does
know
this,
he
oh,
sold
fuck
stuff.
me. So he sold. This is not a joke. He sold a toothbrush
Where can I buy Alex
on
Jones
his website. He's
There
selling,
goes Harry becoming a beefcake.
He's selling toothbrushes, and I think the quote was something along the lines, "This is not nylon that makes you gay." So, something like that. It's a toothbrush for men or
Wow.
something. It's like,
Wow.
oh, dude, yes, please give me more. Feed me. He's an absolute lunatic.
He is completely.
He's totally on cocaine all the time. by
Wait
the
a
way.
second. Is my toothbrush making me gay?
Uh,
This would explain
have
a
you
lot of
sucked?
things.
When have you sucked a dick lately? When have you
No,
sucked?
not recently.
It's okay to be gay.
We've been
Harry.
in. We've
It's
been in
okay
lockdown.
to be gay.
Like I've been in lockdown.
If you enjoy brushing your teeth a little bit too much, Harry, that's fine.
here's
We got your back, buddy.
a weird aside. Okay.
Do you like choking?
If you brush your teeth right before sucking a dick, bad choice. Make sure you flush out that minty stuff first.
I enjoy
Bad
the burn.
choice for
I
me.
enjoy that
The
burn.
burn.
bad choice for me or for him? Like
Yeah. Well, maybe he slaps you on the
Here's
face.
the funny thing. It's so I was at a brunch recently, and there was a group of gay men, and I learned something very interesting about Zurich.
You
and
go to a lot of
Grindr.
brunches for a straight guy.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, whatever.
Do you like
It's fucking lockdown, people.
do you
What
like
else?
mimosas? Is mimosas something that
Fuck
really
you.
makes you going?
Dean's been to at least 3 brunches during lockdown.
I'm not.
Do you have female friends?
I've not been to a brunch ever.
It's not the only time to meet a female friend during COVID, is it?
It's
This
the,
is
only,
not.
it's the only time where you can
You
have
don't have to be
female
extra
friends.
defensive for no reason.
Yeah,
Harry.
fuck you.
I'm not gay. Why would you pay that guy millions of dollars to keep quiet?
Here's the point. Grinder. Zurich's a small place. Yeah.
Oh, fuck me.
Keep telling us
all-
why you're not gay, Harry.
All the dudes on Grinder know each other.
That's not true.
They fucking do.
There's a
Grindr
million
wouldn't
people
work
living
then.
in Zurich.
No, wait a second. Yeah, but no, a percentage of that are gay. This is something I learned. This is a real thing. Is that when you live in a neighborhood, you start to know, yeah, like that guy, I can just drop by
That's
his
true.
place to get
Yeah.
my dick sucked. You
Sure.
you have your regular
Yeah, yeah.
you have your regulars, and they have like a network of like it's like pins on a map. It's like
I have a buddy who finished Grinder in Reykjavik.
yeah, exactly. And then probably you could finish Grinder in Zurich too. It's
So awesome.
Well,
I
a bit of
literally
ambition, kids.
ran out. I'm waiting for the next airplane from America.
I just need to go up to the military base.
Yeah, fuck yeah. How do you want to round this off then?
Um,
Get Gay psychopath.
Well, it's a very conflicted thing for me because I think the evolutionary.
You'd like to be successful. You aren't.
No, I can't be successful because I have kids and I have to look after them.
That's not true, Harry. If you're a psychopath enough, you can outsource the education of your children to some nanny.
Okay,
whilst
you're right.
conquering the world.
I chose to actually deal with my kids, so I'm not a psychopath.
You should have sent them to fucking college, like when they were like 12, like Harry Potter did.
I mean, I think that is actually a prime. Okay, here's one thing. So I think the good news, if you deal with psychopaths, is that past 40, between 30 and 40, fully rounded human beings no longer find psychopaths cool. And so the moment you have like a psychopath friend in your Freundeskreis, if you're Swiss, they're the person that they're just always talking about themselves, or they're just a fucking ass.
Comedians
are not psychopaths. Comedians have empathy. Narcissists, maybe.
Dude, I loved your. I loved
Do
your
you guys need
glance
to?
there.
Do you guys need to go and have a moment on the balcony?
We need to
here, like a little bit of a rub and tug.
We want to make out afterwards.
I-
You wanna
I'm
go
getting
kill
a lot of
dead
love.
ferret or something. Stab it. Microwave a frog.
I think
a gay
is
frog.
it because you're both psychopaths? Like, what the fuck is going on here? I don't think.
No, go on. So, all right. So I know where you want to go
Well,
with this.
the point is that psychopaths, because they lack human empathy, that past somewhere around 30, 35, they basically stop developing as human beings. And what's more annoying than that person in your Freundeskreis who always shows up to like, look at my new car, look at my new girlfriend, look at my new.
But that's not necessarily a psycho. That's just a dick.
Yeah, but that's
Sorry, an asshole.
But that's what. But basically, a psychopath that is a friend of yours, you're going to think this guy's a fucking.
No,
ass.
I'm a bit more weirded
Or
out
woman.
by the guy that doesn't brag about stuff and just suddenly conquers a country in Africa. You know what I mean?
The one who sits quietly in the corner at
It's
brunch.
like, I run Credit Suisse, but I'm not talking about it.
but
That's weirder.
But that person's probably a sociopath.
Maybe.
How do we? Okay, let's wrap it up like this. How do we identify a psychopath, and how do we deal with them
In the wilderness?
in our day-to-day lives?
Okay, that's a
Good question. So
Bring real life examples.
a round for the Swiss Army rifle is 50 cents.
Well, so here's an interesting. Have you heard of the startup organization incubator Y Combinator?
No, Harry, I
Fuck
have
me.
not.
Okay, Christian, shut the fuck up. As a banker, you do you know what I'm talking about? Dude?
Nope.
All right, so it's a US startup incubator.
Say the name again.
Y Combinator.
Yeah, sure. Why is it always so douchey? Why are all these startups so fucking douchey?
Started by a psychopath.
That's actually okay. Whatever. There's some computer science behind the name, but anyway.
Yeah.
So it's founded by some guys that were nerds. They were not psychopaths. And one of the things they've done, they've been getting startups going for years. They have, amongst the founders, they have what they call the no asshole rule. So if anyone that they deal with, they feel this guy's a fucking asshole, they get him out. And
Anyone that's threatened by either sexually or physically, they think he's an asshole.
exactly, and which is basically woke culture.
No, typical nerd culture.
It's but woke culture is the same. Like you,
No, it isn't.
No,
Yeah,
no,
you-
it's not.
yeah,
Woke
yeah, it
culture
is.
does not succeed.
because my lived fuck you guys, Christian, my lived experience. Like you may think that this is a comfortable cult. My lived experience is that I'm getting abused right now. That is my.
That's your lived experience.
Yes, and
You
so-
had me for a semi-second. You had me. I was like, oh no.
The word lived experience is terrifying. The point is this: is that Paul Graham wrote a book called Hackers and Painters. He writes about the fact they did this for a long time. They said the moment you can eliminate all the assholes, the people like Dean, who's a creative person, start to shine because they're not like fighting with fucking dickwads that know how to like dominate a meeting. And then actually they come with their profoundly creative ideas and the world is changed for the better.
I'm going to start practicing lower empathy.
Lower empathy.
Yeah.
So you're going the opposite.
I'm going to
way.
go opposite. I'm going to
There is-
become a
You're
psychopath.
trying to become
I'm
a
going to go stab a cat and get some fucking empathy on my system.
Start with a bird.
I'll
Easier
start with
to
a bird,
kill.
Twist
Yeah.
the neck.
Yeah.
If you do it on TikTok for the likes.
Hey, there we go. Harry, profiting the game
Exactly.
always.
Bam.
Love it.
Exactly.
Gamification of murder.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You probably get a Netflix series, but you'll enjoy it in prison.
I'll just call it my special.
Oh, you can beat Sparrow King.
The lady killer of Zurich.
Yeah, but there's an Asian angle to that, Dean, because I think aren't there a lot of sparrows in China, like in the
I don't
In
know.
most businesses, there is now an Asian angle.
I'm not on board with this part at all.
Okay, fair enough.
I kind of am.
So, all right, we psychos, everybody. Like, fuck psychos, but we all love a psycho.
I love the fact that we spoke about Steve Jobs and not about George Bush.
Because here's why.
I don't think he was.
All right,
anything.
wait.
He's just an idiot,
I think I've got an answer. Here's why we like psychos.
Here we
'Cause
go.
during lockdown, we've all been feeling like miserable and depressed. Psychos haven't. Psychos have been on the case. They've been motivated. They've been showing up for meetings. They've been scoring points versus the rest of us who are like, "Ugh, I feel miserable because I don't have human contact in my life."
Is this going anywhere?
That's a wrap up.
Oh.
As an idea. As a
Yeah.
conclusion.
That
Take
made me
it.
Feel sad.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
DJ Khaled.
What the fuck, people?